Hello, everyone, and welcome to At Death's Door. Thank you for joining us for an evening of Dungeons & Dragons. I'm Sean, and I will be your Dungeon Master tonight. We're thrilled to be streaming at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg. At Death's Door is the third in the trilogy that is Lonely House of Neverwinter, A Viscous Cycle, and focuses on the events of everybody's favourite plague, the bloat, as a new group of adventurers try to prevent a certain elder evil from making her way to this plane. For those of you who are new to Dungeons & Dragons, that's going to mean nothing to you. But everyone here plays fantasy characters in a fantasy universe. The 5 players each have their own unique character, with sheets that tell them who they are, what they can do, their deepest secrets, and what dice to roll. They will mostly be rolling this. Where is it? A d20 to see if they succeed in what they're trying to do. 20 is good, and 1 is hilariously bad. And whilst they play their characters, everything else in said fantasy universe is played by me. People, monsters, weather patterns, the things that are inevitably watching them that they never quite catch. Between me describing the world and story, the players describing what they want to do in it, and some dice rolls to keep things unpredictable for all of us, we will tell our story. For now, let's meet the players and have a word from our sponsors.
Well, time to save the world again. Eltrin Ablodra, Harper Agent, code name Ornate Doorbell, half-drow sorcerer of the aberrant and master of the mind. In the rare instances my personality can't charm you, I have the psionic abilities to finish the job. Played, once again, by David Shears, both he, him in terms of the pronouns. Back with a team of talented misfits, hunting down mysteries and vicariously fighting evil, proving, once again, that mind can triumph over body. I hope you enjoy the shenanigans.
Hi, I'm Evie. I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Arcana, who also uses she, her pronouns. Arcana is a half-elf artificer rogue from the very nearly and now locked devoured planet of Corazon. Chosen by the powers of chaos from her home faction, the Chaos Collective, she has innovated, fought, and betrayed her way to Neverwinter as a lone envoy from her home to deliver a warning against a pending invasion of a powerful elder being. Armed only with her wits, a penguin named Barbara, and a massive gun, she's here to make sure past mistakes are not repeated, and hopefully she won't get too distracted along the way.
Hi, I'm Nat. I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Tessalin, who also uses she, her pronouns. Tessalin is an Abael, a sort of bee elf hybrid person, and her species have only just arrived in the material plane from the Abyss a couple of months ago through some kind of magical finagling. And if you want to know more about that, maybe you could go back and watch A Viscous Cycle, also DM'd by Sean. After the events of said campaign, she was tasked by her mother, Queen Olaj, to serve as an ambassador to the population of Neverwinter, which is a job she's been undertaking with great enthusiasm, as she's keen to explore this new world and that her hive have found themselves in, and all the terribly squishy folks that live in it.
Hi, so my name is Natalia, she, her pronouns, and I am very excited to be here and play with Roll Together in what I think is my debut game. Yay! So, I am here to join at Death's Door, and I play Zinmoira Lithram, who is born as to high elves in an established family in Neverwinter. She is a grave cleric who has been absent for a while, when she has, after a slightly transforming incident, gone to learn a bit more about herself and a bit more control. Hearing more about the disturbing events in Neverwinter that may or may not be affecting the city which her family live in, she has come back to investigate, save the day, and try and not let her inner compulsions get the better of her.
Hello there, my name's Josh. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Jakarth, who also uses he, him pronouns. Jakarth is a hybrid ranger, fighter character. Hybrid. When I say hybrid, he's part human, part dragon. Not the dragon-born kind of dragon, the dragon kind of dragon. Having been experimented on by a rather horrible gentleman called Jorak Antoni. We've previously saw Jakarth in A Viscous Cycle, and he dealt with those demons along with his friend Eltrion, and he's now still working with the Church of Kelemvor as well as the Harpers, but don't tell anybody that.
We are delighted to be sponsored by Hero Forge. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. You can see all of the minis that we designed for this stream in the overlay, and they animate when we enter the combat, so look out for that. Hero Forge are fantastic, so do check out the Pro membership where you can get premium access to features ahead of time, and beta access to things, and all sorts of cool stuff that just makes your life a lot easier. And you can check them out at heroforge.com.
We are delighted to be sponsored by Ultra Pro. They make accessories for D&D, Magic the Gathering, and more. My favourite part of the collection are their figurines of adorable power. Here is their gazer. They also make other things such as deck boxes if you play Magic the Gathering. You can find all of Ultra Pro stuff at ultrapro.com.
Hey friends, check out our new sponsor, Phoenix Dice, for a carefully curated menagerie of click-clack math rocks for your delectation. Check out their entire selection at phoenixdice.com, and just so you know, Phoenix Dice are all about living gloriously in the worlds of tabletop games and sustainably in this one, which means their dice are working to be recycled, their packaging is recycled, the dice are made of sustainable materials. It's all great stuff. You should definitely get involved. You can also join us today in chat with a chance to be in a raffle and win some Phoenix Dice of your own. Just put !dice into chat and you'll be in with a chance to win.
We are proud to be sponsored by Alchemy RPG. Reimagine your gaming experience with Alchemy. They're focused on creating immersive cinematic experiences everywhere you interact with tabletop role-playing games. Playing a game, creating a world, streaming, watching live games, discovering new content. Look at all the cool stuff that they are doing there. You can use environmental motion art, scene-based music, seamless character management to run your games over the internet, with upcoming features including homebrew content, streaming overlays, and spectator mode. So go and check out alchemyrpg.com.
We're delighted to be supported by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, a Dungeons & Dragons strategy video game that brings together D&D characters from novels, adventures, and multiple live streams into a single grand adventure. Select your heroes and formation and battle through waves of monsters for free on PC, phone, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. You can pop exclamation code into chat for a free Electrum chest.
We're delighted to be supported by Neverwinter. In Neverwinter, explore and defend one of the most beautiful cities from Dungeons & Dragons' Forgotten Realms campaign setting as it rises from the ashes of destruction. Epic stories, action combat, and classic role-playing await those heroes courageous enough to enter the fantastic world of Neverwinter. Neverwinter is completely free to play, so set yourself up an account today and pop !NW gift into chat for a link to a free gift.
Check out our wonderful supporters, Elderwood Academy, who make beautiful bespoke gaming-themed gear, including hex chest dice boxes, spellbook deck boxes disguised as bespoke ancient arcane tomes, and scroll and codex dice tower and rolling tray pairings. Make your own with their online designer at elderwoodacademy.com.
This stream will run for 3 hours, and there will be roughly a 5 to 10 minute break somewhere towards the middle. We run shows on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Greenwich Meridian / British Summertime, which is 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. in mainland Britain, and 2 a.m. Tuesday mornings in Japan and parts of Australia. On Mondays, we run TTRPG streams. These can be one-shots, 4, 6, 8, or even 12 weeks long. You can always find our latest schedule at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg/schedule. On Tuesdays, we have our ongoing campaign, Fracture. And on Fridays, we have our talk show, Talk Together, and Talking is a Free Action, which lasts for 1 hour.
We are Roll Together RPG on all socials, so find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok. Links in chat.
Thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. You can find a link in chat. Help us make our shows from just £1, $1, or £1 gold piece, and unlock more tiers by joining. Our D20 Club are fab. They've created a fan Discord for us. They've also made a wiki page for Roll Together. You can find that at rolltogether.fandom.com.
Welcome to our podcast, listeners. If you also would like to listen to us via podcast, you can search for Altogether RPG on your favourite podcast provider. If we're not there, let us know and we will add ourselves to that list.
Bumble. This is a break between. There's a pause card. Finally, we play with a diverse group of players who play a diverse set of characters with wide-ranging sexual and gender identities. Our tables are trans and GNC positive, and we encourage and champion trans and GNC players and characters in our games. The DM and players may portray characters that are of a different gender to their own. We aim to avoid misgendering, but acknowledge that it does happen, and have a company policy in place for correcting people on pronouns. If we miss an instance of misgendering, we are open to being corrected, so please do just let us know in the chat if you think one has been missed. Check out !safety in the chat for content warnings and some of the safety tools that we use through the TTRPG Safety Toolkit. But for now, let us commence. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of At Death's Door. So, last week the group were sent on various different errands by different authority figures. We had Arcana, who has been sent from another plane with a message of doom, but also a hopeful message because there's a potential way out that, just requires several highly powered individuals to assist in. Speaking of, several highly powered individuals were sent, some by Deacon Tyria from the Temple of Kalimvor, who we had Jakarth and we had Moira, who were sent to investigate some strange healing puddles appearing in Neverwinter streets. Meanwhile, we had Eltrion and Tessalin, who were put together to largely aid Tessalin in this kind of ambassadorial kind of mission from her hive. Meanwhile, Eltrion being kind of sent by a shadowy organization that Eltrion is a member of to find out the nature of the interplanar traveler. They all handily convened on the same pub. I refuse to call it railroading. It was more like tram lines. You kind of had some options. Talked in the pub for a bit, and then screaming was heard from outside. Person turned into an aberration. Bunch of undead tried to attack it, and the team, saw it off without issue. So you had, I was going to say enlisted, coerced the vampire Corso Van Knight into taking you to the place where he and some of his siblings, his undead, I can't think of a cumulative word, I should have stopped at siblings, had spotted various activities kind of happening, people going and capturing the aberrations that the undead were unable to subdue in time. And this is where we pick up with Corso leading you to the place that they had been taking them, which is the Neverdeath graveyard in the south of Neverwinter. Now, Talia, how much do you think Moira knows about the Neverdeath graveyard? And don't worry if you personally don't know much about it, because I can help you fill in those blanks.
Well, I've been thinking that, this isn't just her father's job. This is something that he has dedicated a long period of time to as dedication. And I feel as part of a very religious family, like, taking her along on some day trips just to kind of see, have an explore on his hip when she was little. She's not seen it in recent years. She's been away for a while, so there may have been changes that she's not sure about. And of course, as she was growing up, becoming slightly older, she was focused on slightly different areas. So I'd say kind of like the awareness of your primary school, like it's somewhere that you used to know really well, but a lot of that detail is lost just through time, and you kind of might have to relearn some bits as you go through.
Yeah, there's been new crypts, new kind of graves, and expansion, that sort of thing. So, cool. Is this kind of recognition something that you would try and hide on your face, or are you happy for the others to kind of gather that?
I think the recognition, she's probably, they would want to keep. They're fine with that. Maybe the level of comfort with this, because it's not necessarily palatable to many people.
Mm-hmm. In that case, could I get a performance check just to see how much you kind of managed to just keep your calm a little bit?
So I need to do deception, or
I will allow deception if you like. I pulled performance arbitrarily out of the air.
I'm just going to where my stats are higher.
That's fine.
That is a dirty 20.
Okay. Does anyone have a passive insight of 20 or higher?
This is not a whiz-based character.
Perception, yes. Insight, no.
Yes, no, unfortunately not.
Very difficult to lie to me, but not for passively.
Okay, I think that so people would kind of read that there was some recognition here, but no more than anyone. This is literally the main graveyard of Neverwinter. There are some kind of much smaller ones, but generally speaking, either the pauper section or the main section is, where everyone who does not count as a pauper is sent. It's the recognition is no greater than anyone. So forget I said anything, basically.
What were you just talking about? I forgot what you said.
Good.
Sorry. I've got my boo card somewhere. There we go.
So Corso kind of leads you up to the gates and just kind of says, right, that's as far as I can go. Hallowed ground and all that.
Okay, any direction for when we get in there?
I mean, I kind of disappear off around that crypt there, and we kind of lose sight of them a bit.
Right. Okay.
What if I were to fly you over it? Does it still upset you?
I mean, it doesn't feel particularly good, considering that at any moment you might drop me.
Right, yes.
I'd rather keep my foot planted straight on the ground if that was all the same to you.
No, that's
Question,
fair
what
enough.
would happen if you were to be dropped onto unhallowed ground?
I mean, I imagine it would be pretty much the same as were you to drop a pork chop into a wok of burning oil.
That's one hell of a comparison.
Very
You'd have to
specific.
describe that to me. I don't. What is that like?
Lots of fire and
Ooh.
burning agony.
Just looking to see if there's any sort of joy on Moira's face at the thought of that.
Is there?
Is there?
Is there any joy on Moira's face that
The idea of burning a vampire.
but you can tell. Not more than she, has already expressed.
Okay.
You look at Arcana though, she is smiling like that in the idea. It sounds fun.
Not to
or
me.
Interesting at least.
I mean, I'll give you that one, but still no.
Oh no, we're not actually going to drop you. Unless we have reason to. But we don't at the moment, so it's fine.
Well, I might. I'm not very strong, but I thought I'd offer anyway.
Look, I can continue to do what I'm doing on my side of things. Like I said, temporary truce. We've got no need to feed on you while there's aberrations around.
Thanks for taking us this far. Continue to do your good work. Hopefully, when all this is over, everyone can reconvene, and maybe we can even extend the truce a little bit, and you can find a new humane method, as Moira was saying 5 minutes ago. We'll see, but yeah, keep us posted.
It's the humane way, or I kill you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're amenable to any means that, we stay alive or unalive. We carry on doing what we're doing. So,
going off of what was said before, obviously I fully understand that you, I'm trying to slip into different voices here, fully understand that you do not want us to know where it is that your coffin resides. I would suggest setting up somewhere temporary for the moment, somewhere that we have knowledge of. That way, once we're done here, we can find you, and then any further alliances can be formed, as Arcana said. Last thing that we want is to let you go now, leave the graveyard once we're done, and then not be able to find you. I detest the idea of having to track you.
Tell you what. What if we set up a intermediary spot? I'm not particularly comfortable with the idea of having to shift me Earth around. So if we just set up a spot where if we need to relay messages, we can do so, and we can arrange a time in that way.
A rally point, as it were, sounds acceptable.
Couple of nooks on a signpost, that kind of thing.
Is that okay with everybody else?
I'm just checking something.
I'm very safe in the knowledge that I can absolutely speak into his head should I need to do so. So, whatever makes everybody feel most happy with the arrangements.
Yes, if you would like to stay within 120 feet of me at all times, then we needn't lose any contact at all.
I mean, I can help you so far, but that's really not that far away. Like 120 feet, 40 yards.
Okay, I thought we might be new friends now, but okay, fair enough.
I'm not saying that we're not, but
No, I understand. It's fine.
Yeah, there's going to come a point where you go into this graveyard and you're going to leave, my radius. This is you leaving me, not the other way around.
No, I understand. It's fine.
Salin, are you able to re-establish a connection once somebody has gone out of range, or do you have to be within face-to-face contact with them in order to do it?
Rules as writ, it's not clear.
Is that in the Abail handbook, is it?
In the Abail handbook, I'm not entirely sure. DM?
You're asking me. I think that you...
Within 120 feet of myself.
Yeah, you kind of have that sort of radius, which is it kind of acts as your hive mind, as it were. So you can probably, here's me trying to word it in a way that doesn't give you ridiculous feat or something. Like,
Please do, Sean.
You can kind of tell things around you, but like when something's a bit more familiar, I think it would help you to pick it out, probably. But yeah, this isn't going to act like a ranger's sense to tell you how many undead are in a mile kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that's
like there are friendly creatures in the area you cannot trust.
I think Jakarth, to answer your question, once I've established a telepathic link with someone, as long as I return to be within a relatively close distance to them, then I can communicate with them, yes.
That's good then. So once we establish a rally point and make our way back there, Tessalin will be able to contact you before we get there. Once they're within range to ping.
But Eltrion's might be better. I don't know. My telepathic abilities are only what I was given from birth, but you have some kind of strange magical version of it that I'm curious to find more out about.
I have spent a number of months training with some decidedly squid-faced types. I won't mention them by name, be rude.
And, against several documents.
Yes. That was the point.
Is their name a swear word?
No, it's just not to be spoken of in polite society. Jakarth, of course, we have worked together before and knows to some degree the extent of my abilities, but I'm fascinated by your people and exactly how they function. I, of course, have some tools available to locate others, but
That was very flowery. How far does it go, though?
5 miles.
Oh, that's much further. Then you should be the point of contact, not me.
Well, it depends. I need to establish contact within 30 feet or so, and then I can hold contact up to about 5 miles. I also have the capacity to speak directly into another's mind, find where they are, that sort of thing.
Team, do these details need to be worked out now? Because we've kind of got a pressing situation. Did we not work this out later?
Here's a sheet with all of my abilities written down on for your perusal.
We can continue.
I've assigned them numerical values for ease of comprehension.
Why do you have down that you have -4 to strength?
It's not It's not my biggest feature.
Anywho.
It's not the size of the arm, it's the motion of the bicep.
Before we turn into any corner where we get started, I want to go and cast Eyes of the Grave, just to make sure that there aren't any groups of random undead around a corner when we start getting into the crypt.
Okay.
60 foot range. That.
Yeah, no problem. Remind me what the spell does.
I know the location of any undead within 60 feet of me that isn't behind total cover or protected from divination magic. It's a class feature, and I can do that 4 times per long rest.
Nice. Okay.
I just want to kind of basically just do a series of pings as we go down through the cavern. So, yeah, if something's become unhallowed and things are huddling there, we don't run into them unexpectedly.
No worries. At the moment, the only ping you get is the vampire stood in front of you. I mean, we obviously can't do much once they get the aberrations in there, but you might be able to track them down. I don't know if you want to kind of looks at the sky, because dusk has properly fallen by this point. Don't know if you want to do this by day. I'll be even less help for you then.
You said that just before we go, first of all, we need to establish where the rally point is. Secondly, you said that the rainwater does something different to undead. What? You didn't really go into detail on that, did you?
Nah.
Oh, it just kills you.
Got you.
Right, okay. I was just wondering if we might potentially walk into apparition undead type things in there and wanted to be prepared was all.
I mean, I don't really know much about medicine. I know even less about our condition. But it seems that their existence is anathema to ours. So, I don't think we can coexist.
Well, you're here talking to us, so I know which one I'd prefer.
Which one would you prefer?
You. I can talk to you.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, good. Well, I look forward to hashing out the terms of our agreement. And let's say the signpost on Phaetonian Street. How about that? You need us. You make a nice diagonal knock on the post.
A diagonal knock.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's like not perfectly diagonal, how am I supposed to know it's not just some kid with a knife?
That is true. Does that happen often around Phaetonian Street? I've not seen them.
Oh, famous for it. Geometric vandals, a lot of them.
We definitely need to move the hive. All right, then.
I will share a sideways smile with Chakov.
She'll smile back. Right, let's go then.
Okay. So you're heading into the Neverdeath graveyard. Perfect. Could everybody please make a perception roll, just as you're kind of looking around?
Oh, good.
Ooh. Sorry, my first roll, and it was a nat 20 for a 29.
Nice.
24.
22.
For the spotting.
Was that 22? Okay, and sorry, Talia?
15.
15. David?
11.
11. Okay, so with an 11 and with a 15, I mean, you both got dark vision, I believe. So the night isn't particularly concerning for you. It's you're kind of looking around the graveyard. You don't spot anything. Those with post 20 scores, you also don't see anything. But you're much more confident that you don't see anything because there was nothing to see, and not just something was there and was missed. Yeah, the graveyard is silent as well. Yeah,
Silent as death.
Very peaceful.
Death isn't actually all that silent. There's a lot of weird sounds and noises.
That's new information.
It's when all the air comes out.
There was definitely a certain squelching noise that's distinct when we plant our eggs in people's eyes, and it's slightly different depending on the size of the eyes as well.
Oh, you go for the eyes.
Yes,
Why the eyes?
It's the perfect environment.
It's so warm and it can contain. Oh, sorry, we need to go into this later.
Sure.
I think
Sidetracked. Mission.
I think I'm just going to stick with death is silent in my headspace. And I just walk away really awkwardly.
So have these bodies, have they consented to being used as incubators or not? I'm just, as we carry on walking.
I don't know, DM. I'm assuming not.
Yes, there was a concern because the initial bodies, the initial eyes that were taken were only from the those suffering from the second stages of the bloat, from the second variant, I should say, not stages. And with the plague being kept slightly more controlled, those were fewer and further between. However, because of Elchion and his organization's involvement in kind of forming relations, you did manage to broker kind of means of slightly more ethical sourcing. So, which is a long-winded way of saying yes.
So well, these are essentially like organ donors who've signed and have got a card to say, yes, I consent.
Yes. Yeah, it's called an iCard.
Legend has it, there's a folktale doing the rounds that it's more prevalent at certain times of the year, especially the spring. Hence the reason you'll often hear peasants say, beware the eyes of March.
Boo.
I was going to say, Evie, don't put that card down.
So yes, this very long-winded way that I've answered you in a different voice. Yes, they have.
That's fine. I had my concerns, but once a body is a body, you don't desecrate the body. But if the body has agreed prior to becoming a body for future use, that's perfectly fine and very interesting.
Yes, it's a new humanoid custom we've had to get used to. It sort of don't really consider our dead in the same way. Or we never used to, at least. We are changing somewhat to be more like yourselves.
Everyone changes. It's how it works when you live.
I wonder if the bodies, though, are the reason why. This is aside from the main mission. So,
if we come to the crypt where we're heading, whilst this conversation's happening, that is also fine to finish it. But
one of the more recent clutches of eggs that were laid did not hatch in a bale. They hatched what I believe you would term as wasps, similar to us, but not sentient in the way that we are. Something has gone dreadfully wrong. I was just wondering whether it might have been to do with the bodies used, but...
I couldn't say, but it could be.
Do you think it's the type of thing that you would... You understand dead things? Yes? Maybe you could have a look at some point.
Yeah,
not right now.
I'll have a look later. It's something new. I'd have to actually get my hands in.
Well, you shouldn't touch them. They sting.
Oh.
Not as powerfully as we do, but,
Get my gloves in. It'll be fine.
So you head in the direction that Corso pointed you. Who's kind of taking points at this point?
Arcana is quite keen to get going. So unless anyone else is like, I know the way, let's go, it'd probably be Arcana just kind of bouncing like a little ADHD child, just trying to waiting for the parents to catch up.
Elshron is just interestingly observing Arcana, having never had the opportunity to experience someone who's basically seen their whole world be destroyed before. It is a sort of detached psychological interest.
I'm glad my detached grief entertains you.
A scientist.
Yeah.
I'll be directing from the back, so if Arcana keeps going off in random tangents, I will just make some pointed... That doesn't look like anything. Maybe if we go the other way, that'll be interesting.
Where? And just kind of keeps trying to go off, and yeah.
All right, I will count that as you both looking and Moira giving help. So you may roll an investigation with advantage. Josh, what's Jakar doing at this point?
Walking very slowly, trying to sort of not far behind Arcana, but I'm walking very slowly with my bow out, and it's pretty much a case of every time I come to a gravestone, I stop and then quickly dart around and point an arrow down at the grave. Realise there's nothing there. Do it to the next one. I'm very much on... What's the word? On alert.
I mean, just to give you an idea of like how large this graveyard is, it does take up a good, just at an estimate, maybe 5% of the city. Like it is a very large graveyard. So maybe every row rather than every other.
Yeah, looking down the road. So
24 on the investigation.
24. You walk past the crypt that Corso pointed you in the direction of, and kind of look around to see if you can find signs of disturbance. And you do eventually pick up on 3 kind of shallow cuts on just the side of the building, which, I mean, to say that they don't look like any animal you recognize isn't saying a lot, because you probably don't recognize a lot of animals on this plane. But they're kind of close enough that they do feel like something a little bit different to your typical roaming graveyard panther. So picking up on that cue, you kind of follow in the direction that it leads. You find a trail where it seems that something may have been dragged, and you're able to kind of pick up this trail, which leads you directly to a very large tomb with a large stone door, kind of two doors, but very firmly sealed.
Okay, do you normally lock your tomb doors in this plane?
Push the door.
Doesn't budge.
I'm gonna guess yes.
So it depends on usually the person who's being buried. Sometimes they have, a completely free spirit. Sometimes they are very intent on not continuing. We try to honor that, but this seems. DM, does it seem completely out of the ordinary, or?
Is there just a lock on it?
No.
It doesn't appear to be a lock that you can see, and it's not unusual for some people want to be buried with some measure of their worldly possessions. So obviously you want to dissuade people from obtaining them once you're no longer in need of them. So yeah, it's not unusual for people to lock their tombs.
Yeah, but it is unusual that it's locked and there's something that seems to be getting into it. That's the thing, because if we honor their wishes and we completely enclose it, nothing's coming in or out.
Is there an obvious keyhole or place where it would be unlocked, or is it just kind of closed doors?
Give me an Arcana check. Arcana.
It's definitely Arcana.
And luckily I have plus 13 to Arcana. Hence my name. So that is
Very self-aware.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the score?
26.
26. Nice. You get the feeling that this has been magically sealed. There's without casting a spell, you wouldn't be able to identify exactly what, but it's more than just mundane locks here.
Familiar with the spell Arcane Lock? Does it feel familiar from that point of view, if you would allow that extrapolation?
I would say that you would have a decent knowledge of a variety of different spells, so you would naturally just kind of reel through some ways in which people would do that. That seems like the obvious choice, yeah.
I only ask because I've got that prepared myself. Not that it's going to come in handy.
No, it's not called Arcane Unlock. Arcane Arlock, as I was about to say. Anagram in my sleep. Not that I'm asleep. Yeah, so you gather that you're going to need to do a little bit more, or wait until such a time as it is opened of its own.
I don't suppose anyone knows the spell Knock, do they? Just on the off chance.
Don't really do magic, I'm afraid.
You call it here. Pick a knock or...
Sean,
Mm-hmm.
can I pour out some water and just have it flow around the door, basically looking for any gaps between the door and the entrance, to see basically whether it's watertight, obviously, or if there is any kind of, because the door might be locked, but there might be other ways.
It definitely seems like whatever this magical barrier is, it is protecting kind of like all of the nooks and crannies around the door
So
as
it's
well.
more like a force barrier, i.e. it's affecting anywhere where there might normally be a gap. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one.
Anyone dig really well? I'll take that as a no.
I could do, but I don't want to get my claws dirty.
What we could do, which is a bit boring, it's the boring option. I mean, we could try blowing it up for one thing, but I don't think that would work. We could find a hiding place and just kind of wait for the thing that has been coming in and out and see what's up. But
Yes, and
God
pounce on
knows
them
how
when they
long we'll
arrive.
be here.
Valid. There might also be like a grave digger or someone who keeps the control of the cemetery who might know whether there's any other crypts that might connect to this one underground or that we could knock a way through from, as the lay of the land sort of thing. I'm not one for being underground for many decades now, so it's not my field of expertise, I'm afraid. I'm more a master of the mind, if you like.
What if the key, I will do with quotations, is a puzzle that, like, you know, you have to push a gravestone or something, a leaning gravestone, you have to push the opposite direction and it might unlock, you know, that sort of thing. Do we think it could be something like that?
Start like prodding all the bricks.
There are some people who have there are strange things in fashion at different times from what I know, but very uncommon. It's not necessarily the most practical.
Nat, give me it's going to be investigation again.
Sure.
Sorry, Evie, did I cut across you?
I'm just going to say that Arcana's just like, well, back home we just kind of have to throw them in the ground, lickety-split, but this is needlessly complicated.
It's only over the last 6 months anyway.
That's a 21.
21. Again, you kind of you prod enough bricks that you feel like if this were the answer, that would have probably worked by now.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we try Arcana's plan, and we'll find a bush to hide in. And those of you that are magically inclined, maybe you can think if there might be some kind of other puzzle while we wait. And I could go and fly around and see if I could find a groundskeeper or a graveyard person in the meantime. And then I could pounce on them and take their keys. Or maybe just ask nicely.
Can you check on the mausoleum roof? Like,
yes.
We never think to check on the roofs. It could be the roof.
Bzzz.
I prefer we not blow up the mausoleum. I prefer we don't.
Who said anything about blowing it up? Although I do like your style.
Looking at the roof there, it just looks like any old roof. It's been kept deliberately conspicuous, one would say, or inconspicuous, whichever one means hidden.
There's nothing unusual about this roof. It's just fine.
Yeah.
Yes, I can confirm it is a roof.
Never the roof.
Does the lock look anything that's kind of unusual, or would I be? Is it something I might be familiar with at any point?
I don't know, a history roll.
Or oh, come on! It was almost a nat 20. It's a 3.
3. I'm afraid Moira is going to be determinedly kind of thinking, like, is certain that there's going to be something in the depths of their memory that is pertinent, but there isn't. Nothing that you would have kind of been told about any time recently.
No.
Just looking around the door, I know you said that water and stuff was repelled from any cracks and gaps. That implies that there are cracks and gaps.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
can one see through said cracks and gaps if one shoves one's eye right up to the gap?
Sure. Could you roll me a perception roll?
Okay.
And then a dex save. Only kidding. You don't have to roll a dex save.
That's a 12 on perception.
12. It's difficult to tell whether there's something about the spell that's obscuring anything that you might be able to see beyond this, or if it's just too dark on the other side. You can't really get a glimpse of anything.
Fair enough. It was worth a canoodle.
I go and see if I can find someone who might have keys then.
Oh, I can also help with that. If we go home.
If we go home? Are they not going to be here?
My papa, he works here.
Oh, I see. So he might have a key.
He would have a key, or he's apparently not. He's not well at the moment. He's taken sick. I think this couple of days. Mama said it when we were in her shop. Jakath, he's just got the flu, but he'll be at home rather than working today.
He's been sick in the last couple of days when these abominations have started appearing in the place that he works.
He was fine a few days ago. I came for dinner. He was completely fine. So apparently he's just got the flu. It happens. It happens.
I'm sure it does, and it sounds like you are a medical professional as well as a death professional, so I would never assume that you would have got that wrong.
Good. But yes, he's at home, so we could go and ask him, and then I guess if people want to have a restaurant, my parents have a perfectly lovely sitting room.
Only one question. Do they have any cheese?
A lot.
I meant.
Questions. Are we sure that this magical lock is, officially part of this mausoleum, or is it something aberrational from said cult that we are currently tracking that it would be off the books and they might not actually have a key for this?
I won't make you roll. That would definitely be a consideration. It does feel like if, Corso has seen them dragging aberrations in, and that those paths are leading here, this is potentially something that's been added in unofficially.
So going to get an official key might be a bit of a detour, but I understand if you want to check on your dad.
I think it's also it cuts down one route of investigation. So if it's something official that we can get our hands on, that's easy. If it's not, then if he can't give it to us, it's something new to him, then we would know that's a different route of investigation.
I can always assign a couple of, shall we say, special agents to keep an eye on the crypt and let us know of any goings in or out. They've got a real nose for these sort of things, you might say. We'd be barking not to use them, you might say.
I'm happy to stay behind and keep an eye on the crypt with your dogs, I think you're hinting at?
Yes, dogs.
But that sounds like really, really rough.
Rough.
Quite the tale.
I'm howling over here.
When you're in a hairy situation.
I'm starting to wish the world would end.
So is that the plan? Is Eltron going to... What is this? Animal companions
These are the sort of the magic dogs that
of course
Giacomo bequeathed to Eltrion. So as far as I understand, there's just some sort of whistle involved in there. Sort of spiritual dogs, but with the stat block, if you like, of normal dogs. But
Well,
big mastiffs.
for ease, perhaps there's a perhaps you have the kind of ability to turn them back into patches and then back into dogs. So yeah,
Give me my flute, Sean. Let me have my flute.
Or you can have a flute.
Thank you.
Can you? Are you proficient in flute?
I've got one next door.
Not you, Eltrion.
I've got one next door.
Yes, you may. You may summon your patch dogs.
Thank you.
And is Arcana going to keep watch as well?
Yeah, Arcana is just going to kind of turn to you and be like, okay, you go check the official routes. I mean no offense, but I think you might be wasting a bit of time, so I'm just going to sit here, wait with the dogs, see if anything comes along. I assume you can communicate with the dogs in real time?
I can, well, I don't know, Sean, can I?
I get the sense that yes is going to be the only answer that's going to kind of expedite this process. So
Are they basically like discount familiars?
yes, like you can't do the whole seeing through their eyes thing, but you can get a kind of sense of, my massive sense is tingling.
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe if I also stay here as well, then Eltrion, you could communicate with me.
Absolutely.
I was gonna. Sorry, you go.
If shit really hits the fan, watch the sky. I'll fire up a flare, but hopefully that is a last-ditch resort.
So I'm really good at hiding, so I was gonna offer to stay as well.
So basically, at this point, it's just Moira and Eltrion going to see Moira's father then. And the rest of us are being stealthy.
Yeah, we'll be back in about 8 hours, like.
Funny you should say that, because, yeah. So Moira and Eltron will be going to Moira's folks' place, and Arcana, Tessalin, and Jakarth staying in the graveyard. Could you all give me some stealth rolls just to see if you can find some decent places to hide?
What I'm going to do before everybody rolls stealth is I'm just going to breathe in and breathe out and breathe in, and my scales flare up red, and all this steam, like when a dragon snorts, comes out of my nose and sort of forms mist around me and around everybody and sort of licks up against your legs, and I'm going to basically use Pass Without a Trace.
Nice. Okay. So with your plus 10s from Pass Without a Trace, what is your stealth?
42.
Oh. Was that 22 for both of you?
32.
42.
Ooh, nice.
5.
Yeah, even the DM doesn't know where Tessalin is at this point. Like
She's
you are
just up in the air, just like hovering over the graveyard, just like no one can.
I think with the
giant
40
bee in the tree.
I think with the 42, your character sheet is now behind a paywall and I can't even access. David, Talia, did you want to do some stealth rolls as well? Although actually I suppose once you leave the area of Pass Without a Trace, you're going to run out. But let's find out what you would have gotten anyway.
I am wearing purple and gold robes and will probably be space hopping off on a eye monster. But sure, I mean, I could do that very stealthily.
I'm going to stealth just out of sheer embarrassment about being next to this.
In fairness, my skill rolls have been so poor, so I'm going back to actual physical math rocks for now. And to see if that does the business.
Good job, good job.
Betray.
Doesn't do the business, Sean. If I'm honest.
What-
The business is not being done.
What did you get?
The business should fold. Like a 21 with Pass Without Trace. That's fine. But there's 42s being banded about here, mate.
I know. 17 with the Pass Without a Trace.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I'm at disadvantage about stealth, sorry.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh no, not 17. I can't count. 24 with Passport of the Trails, but with the disadvantage, that is 22.
Okay, so a pair of 22s, which will vanish as soon as you kind of leave the parameters. That's not the word I want. The vicinity, the diameter, the area. Cool. I'm going to spare you the actual, walk to Moira's place. It will involve you passing through the area that you previously had fought the aberrations. You can see that there's a few. I said I'd spare you this, but I'm not going to. There are now some Abale who are kind of patrolling the area a little bit more emphatically, like making sure that people don't tread in the water, just kind of hovering over any particularly large puddles to dissuade people from kind of going that direction. So you pass by the Dolphin's Wake, over the Dolphin Bridge, and into the river district of Neverwinter, which is where Moira's family reside. It's late enough that your mum would probably be home at this point. Did you want to have some conversations with your family?
So just, use the key that I've, knock on the door first because it's polite, and then use the key that they've given me since I came back home just to open the door, going, hi, is anybody home? Mama? Daddy?
Moira's? Is that you?
Yeah. We're just here to go and ask, Dad a few questions.
Random question, David. How long does your unnamed eye monster last when you summon?
Hour.
An hour.
And it flies.
Yeah. But then you're also kind of following Moira, presumably, who's ignoring you while leading the way.
I mean, I would have tried to engage in many cheese-related anecdotes, but if it wasn't the time.
They weren't very good.
Well, damn.
Ew.
There we go. I was going to say, I feel like we've got the boo cards. We also now need a phrasing card as well for Eltrion's unnamed eye monster. Anyway.
No one gets left behind. I could wax lyrical about cheese all day. Sorry, somebody stop me, please.
Stop being cheesy.
Just see this tattooed on my forehead at this point.
Just gets like some novelty glasses, like you get at New Year's, but this boo instead. Must be able to get some Halloween ones. Chat, saw some for us. So your mother, whose name I completely remember, Sai? Sayadara.
Like a TS sound? Sai.
Cool. Looks kind of over past your shoulder, where presumably Eltrion is dismounting. And who's your friend?
This is Eltrion. He's joined me on the mission that I'm on at the moment. We are ignoring the companion. We are ignoring it.
It's been roughly an hour, so it just kind of...
The power of belief. Thank you, God.
Well, I mean, we were just about to dish up. Would you like to? I could probably stretch it out and maybe put out a cheese board. That'll make it last a bit longer. Do you want to come in?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Oh, I mean, if you're going to twist my arm, I wouldn't say no to your hospitality. Thank you kindly.
Please, no, of course. Do come in. You do from upstairs kind of hear a kind of rattly just. Oh, I wouldn't go upstairs. Your father's still got the flu. Still not particularly feeling well. I was going to take his dinner up to him.
I mean, I'll do it. I do actually need to talk to him about something.
Please, if you'd like.
Yeah, it's fine.
She leads you both into the kitchen, and there is already a tray with tonight's dinner, which is just kind of a simple like roast chicken dish, cut into much smaller slices so that your dad doesn't have to worry too much about overexerting himself. There you go. You could take that tray up for us.
It'd be my pleasure. Pick up the tray. Add a couple of extra bits. And that's...
You leave side with Eltron. Yeah. So, what do you do?
I'm just psionically mage handing a plate over to myself and eating whilst we talk. Well, we have a certain specialist interest in certain fields of mental magics and stuff, and an understanding of the nature of people. And how about yourself? It's very lovely cheese, by the way. It's have you ever tried halfling cheese? Very good.
I think we'll leave that conversation
I had one pertinent follow-up question that wasn't bollocks. So this flu, bad is it? The point being, Sean, that I'm not sure if it's flu or if flu is just a euphemism for something else, and I'm just curious.
It is flu. I believe that the scientific name for it is platama, because certain people didn't want family members to be unwell during this. Not unwell, but unwell. I'm not killing off Talia's family in their first game.
Oh no, I just thought it might be some hilarious magical ailment where, like, when he sneezes, he turns into a chest of drawers. But no, it's just flu. Okay.
Roll a D100 for me.
I can't. I don't have one.
You don't have a D100?
I've got two of these. Hang on. There's the first one. 50. 54.
54. No, it's not a particular. It's not anything particularly exotic. It's quite phlegmy, and there's a raspy cough, but that's it.
I wouldn't have pressed for that level of detail, but thank you nonetheless. I will still enjoy my cheese whilst whilst the curtain is.
I've got to get the body horror in there somehow. Talia, you enter the door and there's like a sticky mucus on the frame already. No, it's not. It's fine. How far can I push this?
That far and no further.
You do see your father is in bed. It's just kind of has heard you coming up and has tried to kind of roll over and push himself up. He does just have the flu. There's nothing physically unusual. It's just unwell.
I'm always going to do a health check anyway, because while Talia has decided that nothing bad is happening to her family, she's also quite happy with the potential risk, and Moira has no idea. This is a potential concern, so she's going to go check him over and then hit him with 3rd level cure wounds.
I'll allow it. I mean, I guess if you had less of restoration, you could give him a reason to go back to work, but considering you know what's happening at his work, maybe he's better off being ill anyway.
Wants to make it less crumpy.
I think that would definitely be a way to do it, yeah. Moira, you didn't have to come and see me today.
Heard that you were sick and there are weird things going on in the city. Can I need to check up on you?
There's always weird things going on in the city nowadays, my dear.
Yes.
Is that for me?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Lovely. Oh, I do love your mother's cooking.
Oh, she's had long enough to get practiced with it.
It's fair. So, did I hear other voices? You brought a friend with you? Or?
Workmate.
Oh. He is visibly disappointed.
Papa, you know that's not a thing. That, for obvious reasons, I need to work on myself first.
No, but your brother's got... it doesn't matter, but... is there a reason you brought your work friends home?
the thing that we were looking into somehow ended up at your work. So we thought, who better to ask?
What sort of thing have I supposed to have been looking out for?
So, the weird aberration monsters in the city. Something's been dragging them into the crypt. One of the crypts in the cemetery. It's fully locked. Nothing should be getting in or out, but something has been.
That is concerning. I can't think of anything that I would have reported something as insidious as aberrations being ferried through the graveyard. I honestly haven't seen anything out of the usual, just, myself, some of my colleagues, the priests of Kalemvor have been patrolling quite a lot.
Hate to say it, any of your colleagues been acting shifty?
No more than usual.
Fair. Oh, Andy, do you have anything to do that we can use to open the locks? We can't find the physical lock for this crypt. But something's getting in and out, and we need a way to kind of get in without... Some people had the idea of blowing it up, which I would rather not do.
Please dissuade them from doing that. All right. He kind of leans over, and you can see that it slightly pains him, and he has another coughing fit, but he pulls his drawer open and pulls out a set of keys and just kind of rustles to one. Is that right? This is my skeleton key. I'll lend it to you for the day, but I will need it back tomorrow.
If I don't die, it goes to you.
That's not reassuring. When you come back.
Fine. Nothing else yet has killed me.
That's still not reassuring. Okay.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. Kalemvor will watch over you.
Yes. You will. You sit down, you lie down, because if you're in a vulnerable state, if you go outside, you are probably at more risk of being turned into something weird just because your immune system's down. Lie down, stay there.
Yes, okay.
Doctor's orders. Stay.
I will. Your mother's taking good care of me, don't worry.
Good. If I have to kill you because you're an aberration, I would be very mad and then have to resurrect you and yell at you again.
I mean, this is still very not reassuring, but okay.
Sorry.
Cool. You leave your father to his dinner. And as you come downstairs, you would find that your mother, your brother and sister-in-law would probably not be, they wouldn't come around for every meal. So it's pretty much just your mother. And she was kind of expecting you and has had to kind of stretch this 3-person meal out to... how much has Eltrion kind of eaten at this point?
I mean, Eltrion eats quite a staggering amount considering his body size. His metabolism is just incredible. So whatever was there, he would have been just continuously grazing, and then it would have just been floating across the room. And,
yes.
Just making small talk in a charming way so that the sheer volume of food that he was eating was not immediately apparent because of his, discernible charm and affable nature.
And Sai's kind of used to it, She has the
delicious cheese.
The grandchildren and the children are coming in, and so she's used to entertaining the unexpected guests.
And there'd just be the usual stuff as well, like looking stuff around the room and be like, oh, that's a nice picture, or that's a nice thing, and like getting people to talk about themselves. Like, Eltrion likes to find out what makes people tick. I mean, I'm not like casting detect thoughts or anything, but just generally trying to make a good, favourable impression. Likes people, likes to understand people.
Awesome. Well, while we have the idyllic family dinner scene, what's happening in the graveyard? As Jakarth, Tsalin, and Arcana are kind of watching, how are you doing this? Are you kind of going to take it in turns, being a bit more active, looking out? Are you all just kind of trying to keep a bit of an eye?
I think it would be a good idea if we find somewhere in a bush, preferably with a tree, that overlooks this monastery. We could set up a small, non-fired camp and maybe take it in turns and try and get some rest. We could be here for a while.
Really, is there a Scooby-Doo bush anywhere that we can just pick up and stand there? You know, we have those all the time on my home plane. So, I imagine anyway.
Yeah, just freestanding bushes. Their roots just kind of go outwards instead of burrowing down. Yeah.
Scooby-Doo bush.
Yeah. It's even got like a handy little flap with 2 little eye holes. So.
Perfect.
Sure. Who is taking first watch?
I can take first watch if you'd like. I mean, if somebody else would like to, then I don't mind. But
I actually do not require sleep in the way that you folks might require sleep, so I don't mind. I can continue doing laps. I mean, the bush is all very well and good for hiding in, but it is.
Why don't you go and do a patrol and we can take it in turns to keep watching? I'm just a bit nervous about leaving it, like, if someone just nods off for just a moment. So, like, someone does a lap, someone does a watch, someone does rest. And then we rotato. That potato.
Yes.
Rotating that potato sounds good.
Do we have to physically rotate as we do it?
Well, you do if you're on patrol.
Right, noted. Yes. Do we think it's still a good idea to try and find a groundskeeper?
Have we seen anyone in the vicinity as long as we've been in this cemetery?
You haven't. It's not the sort of place where they would just have 24-hour surveillance. Like they have people there to tend the grounds, but in terms of defenses, like, they don't have the funding. Have to go to town hall for that.
Well, groundskeeper would be great, if there was one. So why don't we just keep an eye out, and then if we do see someone wandering past who looks like they have like a smidgen of authority or responsibility for this place, then we can pounce and ask questions. But until then, I think we should keep our eyes out for whatever is dragging something in or out.
Very good. Sounds like a plan.
I'm going to tell you now, you may all push the long rest button because nothing is going to come along until you have done so. Would Eltrion and Moira have stayed at Moira's or kind of come to camp out with the rest, do you think?
Made the offer.
I would have stayed. Safe in the knowledge that we'd be contacted if there was something up. I also like the idea of when this rotate the potato conversation was going on, it just cuts away to Eltrion going, "These are delicious potatoes."
I have been steadily sneaking food from the plate that my mother keeps trying to put food on my plate, and I keep trying to sneak it over onto Eltrion's plate because I am actually not eating anything.
No.
Give me a sleight of hand, please.
Let's pick this dice. Why? Because. Ooh. Uh, 16.
Yeah, that'll do it. your mother's not paying so much attention. If anything, like the fact that your plate keeps being completely void of anything makes her kind of put more food on, thinking that you're just that hungry. So, after a little while, you might have to just kind of smoosh up a couple of potatoes to look like leftovers.
Still just passing it on.
Well, you wouldn't even need to pass it. I'd be like, no, that bit than that. Delicious sauce. Must give me the recipe.
Don't say that. She'll try and adopt you.
So you stay the night. You get your long rest. The mastiffs, the shadow mastiffs, have been patrolling around, and in the morning, they pick up the scent of something and kind of trot back to where Arcana, Tessalin, and or Jakarth, wherever most of you are, if anyone's kind of off on sentry duty. They've got the smell of something, and they send a message to Eltrion. Mm. And while we wonder what that thing could be, we will take our break. So, this is a game DM'd by me, and I do puzzles. So, today's puzzle is Corso Van Night. So, Corso is spelled Corso VANNITE. That's Corso Van Night. CORSO. Did I say that right? CORSOVANNITE. If our players manage to get this on stream, then we will award it with inspiration. And incidentally, your last inspiration die has now expired. Then the breaks. Cool. We will see you in 5-10 minutes. See you after the break. We are delighted to be sponsored by Hero Forge. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. You can see all of the minis that we designed for this stream in the overlay, and they animate when we enter the combat, so look out for that. Hero Forge are fantastic, so do check out the Pro membership where you can get premium access to features ahead of time and beta access to things and all sorts of cool stuff that just makes your life a lot easier. And you can check them out at heroforge.com.
We are delighted to be sponsored by Ultra Pro. They make accessories for D&D, Magic the Gathering, and more. My favourite part of their collection are their figurines of adorable power. Here is their gazer. They also make other things such as deck boxes if you play Magic the Gathering. You can find all of Ultra Pro stuff at ultrapro.com.
Hey friends, check out our new sponsor, Phoenix Dice, for a carefully curated menagerie of click-clack math rocks for your delectation. Check out their entire selection at phoenixdice.com, and just so you know, Phoenix Dice are all about living gloriously in the worlds of tabletop games and sustainably in this one, which means their dice are working to be recycled, their packaging is recycled, the dice are made of sustainable materials. It's all great stuff. You should definitely get involved. You can also join us today in chat with a chance to be in a raffle and win some Phoenix Dice of your own. Just put !dice into chat and you'll be in with a chance to win.
We are proud to be sponsored by Alchemy RPG. Reimagine your gaming experience with Alchemy. They're focused on creating immersive cinematic experiences everywhere you interact with tabletop role-playing games. Playing a game, creating a world, streaming, watching live games, discovering new content. Look at all the cool stuff that they are doing there. You can use environmental motion art, scene-based music, seamless character management to run your games over the internet, with upcoming features including homebrew content, streaming overlays, and spectator mode. So go and check out alchemyrpg.com.
Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the South Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting together against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get your wallet there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
We're delighted to be supported by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, a Dungeons & Dragons strategy video game that brings together D&D characters from novels, adventures, and multiple live streams into a single grand adventure. Select your heroes and formation and battle through waves of monsters for free on PC, phone, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. You can pop ! code into chat for a free Electrum test.
We're delighted to be supported by Neverwinter. In Neverwinter, explore and defend one of the most beautiful cities from Dungeons & Dragons' Forgotten Realms campaign setting as it rises from the ashes of destruction. Epic stories, action combat, and classic role-playing await those heroes courageous enough to enter the fantastic world of Neverwinter. Neverwinter is completely free to play, so set yourself up an account today and pop !NW gift into chat for a link to a free gift.
Check out our wonderful supporters Elderwood Academy, who make beautiful bespoke gaming-themed gear, including hex chest dice boxes, spellbook deck boxes disguised as bespoke ancient arcane tomes, and scroll and codex dice tower and rolling tray pairings. Make your own with their online designer at elderwoodacademy.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of the second episode of At Death's Door. Just before the break, we set an anagram, which I believe, Nat, you have solved.
I have, yes. I believe Corso Van Knight is in league with a certain archfey called Drusilda, because he is into conservation.
Conservation, yes. Also, it was a bit of a... Okay, come on. I improvised a name. I then had to fit it into an anagram because I'm me. So, yeah. Corso is part of the undead who are trying to preserve their way of life, which is conservation. The other options were conservation, or I could have done a different anagram. I could have done Corso Van Sweer, which would have been coronaviruses.
Oh, no.
I opted against that one.
Yeah.
Corso Van Knight, much more vampire-y.
My question to you, though, Sean, is have you figured out what Tessalin is an anagram of yet?
No. I will do it by the end of the run. That's the time limit I'm setting myself. If I haven't got it by the talk together, I feel like I have already said I'm not actually that good at unscrambling anagrams myself. I just like doing them. Anyway, before the break, our team were looking into the Neverdeath graveyard, determining where aberrations are going. You've managed to locate a particular crypt, and having split the party to just do some recon and or eat some cheese, you have come back fully rested to this area where something interesting could be happening. I think it's going to take a little bit of time before Eltrion and Moira get there. But initially, what Tessalin, Arcana, and Jakarth would be aware of is that there appear to be some noises from your hiding places. You can see the gates of the graveyard open, and a pair of what look to be monks or priests, wearing predominantly kind of purples, very dark, subdued colours, appear to be leading a creature in. The creature is not subdued. It's not like they've got it chained or anything. It seems to be that they are casting some sort of enchantment on the creature to subdue it. But at first, when they enter the graveyard, you don't see anything. But as soon as they pass the threshold, that is when the aberration actually becomes visible. They're casting some sort of glamour on it to prevent it from causing an uproar in the street. But for whatever reason, that appears to be no longer working. And they move the creature towards the crypt that you have been staking out. The creature's feet kind of dragging along the floor as it does so. They get up to the crypt, lean in close to the door, and whisper something. What are the three of your passive perceptions? And in fact, David, what are your Mastiff's passives? Do you have that to hand?
Did you say they were Mastiffs or Shadow Mastiffs? Because you used both terms.
I have used both terms, haven't I? I think in terms of the rules of the patch, they are Mastiffs, but we're kind of giving them a little bit of extra functionality so that you don't have to literally have a pair of dogs around you all the time.
Fair.
You can bounce them away like Pokemon.
They're normal magic dogs.
Yes. Perfectly run-of-the-mill, not illusionary, magical dogs.
Rideable dogs. So, let me find stat block. 13 is passive.
13 passive. Anyone want? Got 13, 13. Anyone got over the 13, 13? 19.
20.
20. Are you muted, Nat, or are you miming?
Oh, no, I was just quiet. I said, actually, 18. I got enthusiastic. 18,
19, and 20. I mean, it's quite pleasing. Even so. I would say that they haven't noticed you're there. They're not necessarily thinking they need to be super quiet because someone's listening in on their conversation. So an 18, 19, or a 20 would be enough to hear that there seems to be a passcode. To open the doors. You hear them say "Mother of Monsters," and then the doors. This kind of sheen, which you wouldn't have been aware of until it disappeared, just kind of dissipates, and then the doors slowly open outwards. I think with the 13, your Mastiffs wouldn't hear it. And also, I'm not sure how they would have communicated it to you anyway. Kind of.
Well, are we still connected over this time? Have you, woken up and sent me a ping being like, good morning?
I don't know if I can.
Ah.
I think I could cast Sending, but a level 3 spell slot to say good morning seems a bit of a...
Yeah, that's excessive. I just wondered if your psychic connection... I couldn't remember.
Wouldn't extend that far, I don't think. Yeah, it's a weird one because I can once we're within 30 feet of each other, I can establish it for 9 minutes up to 5 miles. But I'm like, who's running? Are we just running in opposite directions from each other at that point for it to last that long? But yeah, I don't think I have a way of checking in per se. Although obviously, if there was an alarm coming through, then certainly would.
Do the Mastiffs understand a language? They must understand Eltrion, right?
Yeah, I mean, they understand sort of basic commands, I would say.
Are you...
Yeah.
Go on.
Tsaelin will notice this and look at the Mastiffs. Have I been told their names? Do they have names?
Do they have names?
They do have names. I'm pretty sure, chat decided what their names were supposed to be.
I have a feeling you're right.
I've got to be perfectly honest, I've forgotten.
Chat.
What a terrible dog owner are you?
Chat, it's on you. Well, you need to resource what Eltrion's dogs' names are. Hopefully tell us before the time we record again.
Tsaelin is going to turn to, and I'm going to leave that for the editors to put their names there.
They're a palindrome. Their names are Dog and God.
All right. Sure. One of
mutton's
them's
tongue.
got a superiority complex.
Go hang a salami, I'm lasagna hog.
I'm going to turn to the dogs and telepathically communicate to them.
Tell Eltrion that the people are here. They're wearing purple robes like him, but different.
They are different, right?
Sorry. Actually, tell you what, give me a history roll. The three of you who are there, Arcana, probably disadvantage. Actually, no. No, I'm going to say you've been here for a couple of days, so long enough that you might.
A 4.
11.
6.
So good.
What town are we in?
Where are we?
Oh,
I mean, purple clothes are purple clothes. Like, it's everybody's wearing them. It's in fashion. It's that kind of violet rage.
I mean, I'm kind of a big deal, so people want to dress like me. I get it.
Aesthetic trends.
Tell Eltrion some people are here, and they have an aberration, and they're wearing clothes like him.
What I get through the link with dogs is something's up.
Crime afoot.
Yeah.
It's only about half an hour walk from Moira's parents' place, so you can kind of be back. Would the rest of you have tried to enter this beforehand, or would you be content knowing what they...
I have a question.
Yes.
Before we even get to the possibility of going in there, could you remind me how many of them there were?
There were only 2 leading the aberration. It seems that one of them might be potentially keeping it under control, while the other one was keeping it cloaked. But having lost the enchantment that was hiding the aberration, the other one kind of came forward to make sure that the door was opened before the aberration was let in. I will also, just for the benefit of, because you're here, Arcana, you recognize this kind of aberration. I mean, as far as, grotesque, like mutated monstrosities go, they tend to kind of develop in certain ways. It's almost like dependent on the particular strand of Ragnar's influence that they come into contact with. They will mutate in a particular fashion. This one, you back on your plane, was known as a skin puppet. It's slightly larger than the original humanoid, so it kind of grows, and this growth unfortunately is only subdermal, so the skin itself stretches taut until it tears in places, and it has muscle showing through just these kind of patches until it's got almost this sort of mesh of skin on its outer layer. And as they develop, little eyes start kind of poking their way through some of the muscles as well. So each of these patches of bare muscle just occasionally blink.
Delightful.
Nice.
And this is one that we would recognise.
I'm assuming that the 3 of them together, particularly the aberration, look pretty hefty in terms of these ain't just commoners.
You might be able to take the people leading the creature through. The creature itself might take a few more of you.
When we see it, I'd like to just kind of whisper to, I suppose it would be Jakarth who'd be next to, if Tezalen is still doing patrol, just, okay, we've got a skin puppet. I'd say we could go at it if the other 2 were here, but maybe we wait and go right in, like, wait, count of 10, go in.
I take it the skin puppet is from where you're from.
Oh yeah, this is Ragnora all over.
Brilliant. Okay, that's not a good sign. I think what would be a good idea would be to wait for Eltrion and Moira to come back. Maybe they might leave during that time, and then we can investigate it without having people inside. Maybe.
I have a suspicion that there's going to be more inside regardless.
Aberrations probably, but people maybe not.
But what if we lose them? What if it's just an entrance to an underground catacomb network, and then we can't find our way to what we're looking for? There's endless possibilities here. We don't know what we're dealing with.
No, we don't, which is why we should make sure that all of us are together before we go down there.
Zaylin just lands.
So, we're going in and following them right now, right?
So that's the plan.
Great. Good.
I'm out. Okay.
Are you heading in to the shrine?
Yes. DM, little sort of reflective question. It's just occurred to me. We had a lovely buffet at Moira's house that was enjoyed by those that got to go. We kind of glossed over, nothing much happened our end. That's totally fine. Plot's more important. Could it be reasonable that at any point during that time, Tessaelin would have sat Jakarth and Arcana down and been like, you know what, I have a really strong feeling about this, you know? I know it sounds all doom and gloom, but I think we've really got it. And this goes on for about 10 minutes.
I think that's probably a thing that could have happened, yes.
I'm sorry to the other two that you didn't get to enjoy in this as well, but you had cheese. So Jakarth and Arcana, you get 13 temp HP.
Ooh.
Oh, and the Mastiffs technically do as well. They are allies.
Perfect. Okay. As you are trying to kind of leave your previous hiding spots and head into this area after the people leading the aberration, could you please make me some fresh stealth rolls?
But my 42.
No pass without a trace this time.
Yep, that would have run out anyway. Did you say 5?
25.
25, okay.
Do you need rolls for the dog, Sean?
I imagine so. Are they following? Would they follow without Eltrion's say so?
I don't imagine so. No, I think they were given very specific orders to watch the thingy and let me know if there was anything afoot.
Yeah, I think
any movement.
I think what I'd do is, just before we leave, I'd crouch down on my knees. I'd let one of my fingers turn into a draconic claw, and I'll just scratch underneath both of their chins and just say, wait here for Eltrion to come along, and just sort of give him direction that we've gone in there.
I'm glad you said that, Josh, because I rolled a 1, so I think that stealth isn't happening.
Okay.
I rolled a 24 on my stealth.
Okay, 20, 25, 24. Nat?
I mean, technically, it's a 14. I mean, we can just gloss over what the number on the dice is if you'd like. The total's 14.
Sure. Was the modifier 13?
Maybe.
Cool. How do you think Tessaelin would completely fluff this stealth roll?
I think she's got cocky because she was floating around all night, like out in the open, and no one noticed her at all. And now she's excited that something is happening, an adventure is happening, and there's a dark crypt to explore. And, oh, this is really exciting. I'm just going to go and follows after them.
Cool. So the noise of your wings is just a little bit louder than you'd potentially planned.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was something to do with the booty.
Oh, the door is too small for it? No, because you've got to fit through as well.
Just imagine just kind of a little wiggle going through, just hit both the doors, just...
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Like an excited dog.
As you kind of bumble out of this hiding spot loudly, the two people turn, suddenly made aware of you, and there's a brief kind of moment of panic, having been kind of sussed out, but then a kind of mutual understanding as they realize they can't leave people alive who know exactly what they're doing, and start to coerce the aberration to the front.
Shoot both of them straight away.
That is where we will roll initiative, and don't worry, Talia and David, you are right outside the gates. So, has everybody rolled their initiative? I suppose I want to roll some initiative as well. Did anyone roll a 20 or higher?
2.
22? Talia?
24.
Nice.
As a cleric, well done.
No one else? Anyone between a 15 and a 20? Did you get? Sorry, I didn't catch your number, Evie. 15?
16.
16.
I also got 16.
Okay. What are each of your dexterity modifiers?
+5.
What's yours?
4.
+4. Okay. So Jakarth wins that tie. Arcana. And that means Eltron. Oh, what did you get, David? I'd like
10.
to know. 10. A very respectable, but decidedly average 10.
God, I
Cool.
got a bit of cheese, mate. Come on.
Yes, you've probably taken a doggy bag back with you. So, Moira, as you and Eltrion, having received this message, you've kind of tried to get back to the graveyard quicker than normal, kind of tried to hot step a little bit faster, and have managed to round the corner. So you've got a good view of this crypt. It's still about 100 foot away, but you can see that there are two people wearing familiar purple robes with an aberration facing off against your three. Well, you can only actually see Tsaelin at this point. The other two are fairly well hidden. I will allow you a free history roll to see if you recognize.
Okay. Can't do math. 18?
18 is good enough, I'd say. It's not like there's a uniform for this organization as such, but there is a kind of generally understood color scheme that they generally stick to. Generally, people wearing purple robes in kind of muted colors belong to the Church of Kellenvor.
And I've just fired arrows at two of them.
Oh, you have? Yeah, that was technically your surprise round. So roll those attacks for me now, while Moira decides what they are going to do, facing such information.
Swear at them. Missed you.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go on the fact that I've just sort of blind shot at them and not noticed that they were Kellenvor priests, because obviously Jakarth's been around them quite a lot. I'm going to
6. You didn't know nothing.
No, that's what I mean. I didn't know nothing. So it was like blind looking at them. So it's going to be full whack, sharpshooter, all of that stuff at them. I apologise, Moira. That is it's an 11 to hit on the first one, luckily.
11 does not hit.
Thank God for that. The second one is a 20 to hit, non-natural.
20 to hit will hit. Were you going for... so the aberration's kind of less in the middle, and then you've got a priest to the left of it and also the right of it. Which way round would you say?
I would have gone for the left priest first, and then the right priest. going for the priests first because I think they're trying to release the aberration onto us.
Okay.
And I rolled 22 for damage, piercing.
Nice. Okay. I have instantly forgotten which one's on which side. That one. Cool. It does seem to hurt him quite a bit. He's not down, but Moira, as your turn comes around, you do see one of the priests grows an arrow.
What the fuck do you all think you're doing? Just stop it and behave. Fuck you right now. I'm going to throw a guiding bolt at the fucking aberration.
Okay.
This has not gone through proper authoritative channels.
Nice.
I thought you were yelling at us for a moment.
Yeah, so did I. I was like,
Everybody.
shit.
Everybody is being yelled at.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
I can just imagine that Jakarth just does the exact same thing the dogs will probably do and just goes, woo!
That is a 27 to hit.
Oof. Yes, that'll hit.
Cool. How many d6s is that? 1, 2, 3, 7, 13, 17 points of radiant damage.
Oof. Okay.
And also just a general burn to anyone who is in my vicinity. Through verbal abuse.
Yeah, so you tell off these so-called priests. Anything else in your turn?
Just carry on rushing up there. So something has been going on and I do not like it.
No worries. To Salem. You are up next. You managed to recover from your busy buzzing.
Can I just have a reminder of the geography? Have they actually gone into the tunnel at all? Because I was under the impression I'd gone down in a little bit and Jakarth had like pew pew over my shoulder. But are we further out?
In my head, you weren't quite close enough, so the loud buzzing would have alerted them. I'd say where you were hidden was probably about 30, maybe 40 foot away. So I'm happy for you to have closed some of that distance if you'd like.
Cool. So I would have been 10 foot away.
Yeah, but they're not in the tunnel at this point.
Okay, cool. I think she was initially like shocked and surprised that they'd noticed her, and it sort of stopped her in her tracks a little bit. And then carnage happened instantly over her shoulders, and a lot of shouting. And I think she just looks with panic at the two robed figures to see how they are looking. Are they looking shocked? They're looking no, they were looking as if they were going to turn and set the aberration on us, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And she says, I think we all just need to calm down a moment, and start swaying side to side a little bit. And I'm going to roll some dice. There's no save on this. I'm going to use my sleep-inducing thrum.
I had a feeling this was coming.
Which is an Bale thing that Sean and I worked on. That's 5d8.
Say sleep-inducing thrum or sleep-inducing bum?
I mean both, because it's a waggle dance, so...
I just want to check.
The horror campaign. Boo!
I rolled 20 total.
20?
Which is disappointingly low.
Okay. And it affects them in order. One of them has been damaged, so yeah. No save, just straight up asleep.
No, yeah, they just fall asleep, but they will wake up if they take damage, or anyone uses an action to slap them awake.
Okay, cool.
Resist the urge.
I will draw a little line so I know they're asleep. Perfect. That's your action, yeah?
Yes, and then Tassela is just kind of looking, staring down the other one, being like, huh.
I was expecting you to fall asleep as well. Okay, never mind. And I'm going to use my bonus action to cunning action disengage. No, I'm not within their range, am I?
No, you're not within range. You kind of got maybe halfway across the distance, and then they turned.
Okay. How much space is around them? Is it possible for me to scoot around them and get inside the crypt without getting within their range?
Probably not. They were just about, but they're kind of on the steps, so you would go within kind of opportunity attack range, unless you did opt to take disengage and then just nip in.
I think I will do that. I think I'll scoot round, then disengage and fly down the corridor a little bit, and we'll just kind of to everyone else telepathically, don't slap the one that's asleep. Just scoot into the corridor. Bye.
Okay. And that's everything on your turn?
I think that's all I can do. I hide in the night.
It is now their turn. The one that's awake is kind of stood there a little bit stunned. You know, there's an arrow has just gone flying past his shoulder. He turns and sees his colleague is just fallen asleep on the floor, and seems to kind of just this moment passes over his face, where he seems to have decided on a course of action. Yanks a flask which seems to have been hanging on a cord around his neck, uncorks it, and then downs the liquid within and starts to mutate.
Oh no.
Arcana, you have never seen these effects in such rapid these events usually kind of take place over a matter of days, but this person has just mutated in a number of seconds. So whatever it is that he's just imbibed has been clearly a distilled form of the virus. You watch as his ribs start to kind of puff out and then burst open and take the form of kind of like a sideways mouth. They look like teeth on the other side. You can see that his organs have kind of shriveled up, and his heart is just kind of hanging in the middle like a kind of mockery of a uvula. Meanwhile, his head has kind of just lolled backwards and appears to be just almost deflating. In this new form, you would know them as arm traps.
They sound friendly. They sound benign, right?
Yeah. And he's going to run towards, I think, the one that shot arrows at his friend. So yeah, I'm going to make an attack on Jakarth. That's not going to hit you. That's a natural one. Does have multi-attack though. That's 11.
No.
The aberration, as the one controlling it, seems to have either been the one that's fallen asleep or the one that has turned into an aberration himself, is now no longer subdued, is going to... I'm going to see whether it would follow after. No, it's not quite that clever. Arcana hasn't revealed herself yet, so I think the only logical thing is that it would also go for Jakarth. So you now have this skin puppet also heading towards you. Right. I'm going to blame you on that. Nope, can't roll today. Does it have multi? It does not. So you get away scot-free as these creatures kind of descend on you. They are kind of right in your vicinity, though. Okay. Next down the list it is Jakarth.
So I've got 2 creatures within range of me. Seeing as it would probably be, thinking that it's going to definitely be a bad idea, stepping away to fire a shot at them. I'm going to quickly just stow the bow, and I'm just going to breathe and just look at the creatures. And as I do, my face begins to bones begin to crack, and my face begins to distort and form into like a dragon's beak, sort of. Like the snout part, and my hands extend as I cast Primal Savagery, and then I'm just going to attack.
Nice. Yeah, please make your Primal Savagery attack.
That's a 9. I was stuck with ranged.
You have advantage on the first aberration.
I will take that. Thank you very much.
Nice.
That was a natural 1 on the second one.
I'm afraid it's probably because they've kind of darted in at range. You've kind of tried to preempt it, so you're all kind of just being super active and rolling around each other and avoiding each other's attacks at this point. So it's not lack of skill; it's too much on both sides.
And realizing that I've not been able to hit them, but they're still quite close to me, I will try and roll backwards out of the way.
Okay, so you will take an opportunity attack.
Yes.
Okay. That first one is a 16.
That misses.
And the second one is I'm going to throw these dice away. 18.
That is my AC.
That one hits. I will roll. That is 13 points of slashing damage as the arm traps, arms, which you notice that the bones from the fingers seem to have extended out beyond the end of the skin, forming these kind of just jagged claws that just rake at you.
I'm used to trying to block it with my arms because the scales go up my arms and acts like a natural shield for me. So it cuts through, and I'm like, as I move back and pull my bow out. Luckily, that took my temp hit points. And that was it. But that's my turn.
Awesome. Arcana.
Cool. So, sorry, I promise I'm not possessed. This is just my voice now. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, having faced these things before, do I, or have knowledge of them from before, do I have any kind of insight of the best way to kind of face them? Or is it just kind of like, I know of them and I recognize them?
I would, do you have a roguish thing that gives you insight into things?
Yes, I can do that as a bonus action to get advantage.
I would say I would probably want you to use that. So you recognize them, but like your surface thoughts at this point are not necessarily going to be, oh yes, this is how to kill this particular one.
Oh yeah, so I could so it would either be Eye for Detail, which is a bonus action, perception or spot hidden, or to make an investigation check or decipher clues, or Insightful Fighting, which is a check against its deception, to see if I can see into any weak spots.
I'm happy for you to pick whichever one of those would be best.
Let's go with Insightful Fighting.
Okay, so I roll deception.
And I roll insight against that. Okay. Oh, so I got 22 on my insight.
You doubled what I got.
Hey.
So.
So what do I get any insight into, say, the skin, the arm traps, which is the one that's kind of on Jakarth right now, right?
Yeah. Does the Insightful Fighting, do I give you kind of things about it? You know, I'm just going to do it.
Oh.
You would know that hitting them in melee is a good way to have its jaws clamp down on your arm. So generally you want to try and hit it from a bit further away. You'd also, I will give you it. They seem to be immune to necrotic attacks. Being as they're formed of positive energy, they just negate it entirely.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a good old firebolt. Let's kind of whip the gun round and give it a go. Not great. That's well, it's a 10 plus 11, so 21.
21 to hit. Yeah, that hits.
Cool. Because I use Insightful Fighting, I get sneak attack, which is nice. So that is. Hang on. Okay, I can do this. I'm not too sleepy. Okay. 2d10, it's my arcane firearm, so I get a d8 plus another 2d6 for sneak attack.
All good.
Ooh, okay, that's nice. So that is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31.
Yeah. Yeah. Easy maths for me. But... Yeah. Okay. Anything else on your turn?
I will move out of the cover and just kind of start making my way to the mausoleum doors where I saw Tesalin disappear a minute ago.
Perfect. Absolutely fine. That's everything on your turn. Eltrion, you're up.
Amazing. I've slightly lost track of where I am in relation to everything. Sean's all moved around a bit.
That's right. It's about 100 foot away from where your colleagues are.
Cool. So what makes sense first and foremost, I guess, is to move the 30 feet towards the stuff that's going on, which puts me within 70 feet. Limits, actually, to be fair. Okay, one's asleep still.
One's still asleep.
Okay, and one
got an arrow sticking out of his shoulder.
And then the other two were both going after Jakarth.
Yeah.
Because reasons. Does either of them look weaker?
By some fluke, they're both on the same amount of hit points now.
Okay. They look like severely damaged or slightly damaged?
One looks like it started from a point that was higher, so probably would look more bloodied.
Cool.
I'd say. The arm trap, sorry.
All right. Let's do a 4th level scorching ray straight into the back of the beefier one that's attacking Jakarth. I got 3 of these, but I have to roll for each one.
No worries.
Let's just see whether they would hit or not. So 22 to hit.
Yep, hits.
16 to hit.
Hits.
And oh, come on. Don't fail me now. Rolly thing. 26 to hit.
Yeah, hits. Roll me your damage.
Amazing. I think actually what I get for the higher upcast is more rays. Yes, so I get another 2 rays.
Oh wow, okay.
Rays for days. So 15 to hit.
Just hits.
Amazing. And then that one was 4 rays.
What was the last one?
It was 12.
Okay, yeah.
So let's see. 6. It's not like a massive amount of damage, but it's just fun for days.
Who doesn't like rolling dice?
Yeah, 10.
Playing the wrong game if they don't.
19. 27. 27 points of fire damage.
In total?
Yeah.
Nice.
Stay away from Major Carth.
Sweet. It's still standing. but significantly worse off following your barrage.
No problems.
Bonus actions.
Anything else that I want to do? No, I'm 70 feet away from stuff, so there's nothing particularly relevant at this point in time.
Okay.
I've entered the fray.
You would find that you're within Tessalin's psychic range at this point, though.
Hello.
Nice. You know.
Well, I've only got 6 seconds, presumably. So, what's going on? What's the plan?
They turned up, and turns out they weren't sleepy, and they didn't want us following them. They're really observant, surprisingly so. It definitely wasn't me being noisy.
Seems oddly specific, but fine.
Back to the top of the round, Moira.
I'm looking at too many different things. If I keep running in, how close can I get to them?
You moved forwards on your last turn, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you can get to 40 feet away. Then if you were to use your action, you could get to 10.
Yeah, that's too much. Okay, I'm just gonna... So I keep running in, and there are just too many people on the ground. So I'm just gonna start running along the walls instead.
Okay.
It's just a thing I can do.
I don't doubt it.
And just making my way through and just going, seriously? What the f is going on here? Just, oh, dear God. And I'm going to get to... Not the original apparition. I'll go and cast Toll the Dead on the weird, creepy thing that my colleague has turned into.
Okay, that one. Yes. Please. That's a save from me, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at these, am I? What sort of save?
Wisdom.
I'm not good at these, but I rolled a 17.
Yeah, that makes it.
Sorry. I have a +0.
Darn it. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just very angry. Cool. I think unless I'm allowed to go and use spiritual weapon as well, I got nothing else to do.
Toll of the Dead is a cantrip, isn't it?
Yes.
So yes, you can cast a spell.
Yay.
Cleric bonus action economy.
Got it. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm having trouble somehow suddenly reading. There we go. Find my bonuses.
Raged spell attack, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I found it is a +8. That's a lot. 19 + 8.
Oh, yeah. That'll hit. And can you describe for us what your spiritual weapon looks like?
It looks like a lance coming through, but it seems to kind of non-Euclidean twist and drip a little.
Nice. Okay.
Shoot straight through from where my hand is and just pierce through.
And still going for the... Still going for...
Still going for the ex-colleague.
What's the damage?
That is 9 points of ow.
It's still standing, I'm afraid.
It's fine. It's fine.
Very close.
The Toll the Dead was supposed to be the big thing and it didn't work, so hey.
That's action bonus and movement.
Yeah.
Any other surprises?
No, I'm just hanging up on the ceiling now. Just
cool. I mean, you are still outside, but on the roof.
On the edge.
Yeah, living on the edge. Tessalin, it is your turn. What are you doing?
Firstly, I'm contemplating whether the arm breaker thing is plotting, using its ribs to do plotting actions. And then secondly, she's going to pull her short bow out instead, and as a bonus action, just going to steady aim, sort of tracking the aberration, not the not the ribs one.
Cool.
Just watching it. And I'm going to file the missile. And I can get my other dice out. There we go.
Please do.
Are you kidding me? So that's an 11 to hit because I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Not gonna do it.
Didn't think so. Great.
Sorry.
I'm having a lovely time in a crypt corridor.
It's because you've kind of gone from, outside bright lights into the dank dark. Now you've turned around. Your eyes aren't quite focusing again.
It was all going so well yesterday, and today there's something not quite right. I don't know what it is. I need to find out who's to blame.
Anything else with your turn?
Do I go into the crypt on my own? No, I think my friends look like they might need my help. So I'm gonna hang around.
Okay, so you're just kind of on the edge, like still kind of inside, but
I'm
with a
in
good
the
view?
just a little bit in from the door, like maybe 5 feet in from the doorway of the crypt. Because if the door's closed, I want to be on the other side so I can see if I can open it from this side.
I see. Yep, that's absolutely fine. Is that everything on your turn?
That's all I can do.
Okay. Right. At the beginning of I wasn't on the right one. Jakarth, you rolled away from the creatures, but you're still within the presence of the skin puppet. You become aware of a horrible stench exuding from this creature. Could you please make me a Constitution saving throw?
Does he have resistance to farts?
That's
More
a
like kind of-
16. I hope I do.
16 is enough. You do not take anything from what seems to be this kind of smell of turned meat. It's
a spit roast, or oh, you mean like gone off?
Yes, as in it has turned. I didn't want to use
Not
the
like
word
turned
rotted
on a
meat.
spit. Okay, sure. I'm with you.
A rotational meat.
Yeah,
You're
a
lucky.
rotisserie. You take rotisserie damage. Sorry, Sean. I interrupted your.
It's all right. You're lucky we're past the watershed. It is also going to lunge forward at Jakarth with it. Its legs seem to have kind of developed extra joints, and it bounds towards you with an unnatural speed. And 16?
Does not hit.
Did not think it would. It was close. Right, that's that one. There are other things that have been... Nope. Single-mindedly going for Jakarth. I did roll to see if it would notice any of the other people that are blasting it, but it did not. That's not going to do it. That's 13. 17.
Nope.
Going for the wrong squishy person. I think that's everything that I can do. Yeah. Jakarth, it's your turn. They're now back, like, within range of you.
I'm outside, like in the graveyard fighting these things, aren't they? They sort of come out after me. Okay, so...
They never got as far as going in. They kind of turned and were on the steps.
As they're attacking me and I'm dodging and diving out of the way, I'm just going to shout down into the crypt because I know that's where Taliesin is.
Tessaelin.
Tessaelin, there we go. My brain
You would
just went-
probably be able to see Tessaelin because she's just kind of staying inside but in the doorway.
I'll just say, grab the vial from the other one. And as I dodge the last attack, I'll sort of hop. Oh, this is going to be really cheeky. I'm going to hop onto the back of the creature's head, and then I'm going to springboard off, and I want to try and land on the roof of the mausoleum.
Okay, I mean, roll a call. I'll allow you to try. Acrobatics.
Natural 20 for a 25.
Nice. You are still technically leaving range, so you will still take some opportunity attacks, but natural 1. Oh, and an 18.
That is my AC.
Okay, so the one you springboard off just manages to kind of clip your leg, but unfazed, you manage to land on top of the roof. And I will tell you in a second how much you take from it, because that is 14 points of slashing damage from these claws.
Nice. And sort of as I've springboarded off, just because it sounds cool and it's anime shit, and I spin through the air upside down before I land on the roof. I'm going to fire 2 arrows down at the more injured one, which I think is the arm biter, the one who looks like he's plotting.
The arm trap, yes.
The arm trap, that's the one.
Please make your rolls.
Sort of take a deep breath in. Everything goes really slow as I sharpshooter. That is a 14 to hit.
That does not hit.
Ooh. And a natural 20 for a 33.
That does. Tell me how much damage it is. It's dead, but tell me how much damage it is.
Okay, so hopefully this just rolls it straight away. I'm just going to pump everything into it. So, well, you said it's dead, so that is 20.
It's not going to cost you any dice or resources, then go nuts.
22 points of piercing damage and 4 points of psychic damage.
That is precisely 24 points too much, but yes, it is dead.
You just get, as you fire the first arrow, Tesalin just kind of looks up at you and sort of, it can't roll her eyes because multifaceted, but you get that equivalent of like,
they're actually really hard to hit with arrows. Oh, never mind.
As I land on the roof, and I've tried to do this really cool superhero pose, I imagine that when it attacked me, it sort of clipped my ankle a bit, and I sort of buckle a little bit, like trying to look really cool.
I mean, you got a natural 20. You can accept the coolness of the moment and buckle later.
Yeah, that is everything I'm going to do this turn.
Perfect. Arcana, you're up next.
Okay. Can you lay out the scene for me one more time, just because we've got a lot of moving parts going on?
Yes, that's fine. So you are about 40 foot away from the mausoleum, which is where Tesalin is in the doors, just on inside. Jakarth is on the roof of said thing. Moira is running along the walls of mausoleums, like lining up this kind of alley. And Jakarth, and Eltrion is approaching at a slightly more sedate speed. You are probably around about 30 foot away from the nearest creature, which is now on its own because one is dead.
Aw. It's all lonely.
Yeah. It's the one that was led in.
Okay. And how is it looking? Like health-wise?
It's
Another 30 years?
It's not quite under half at this point. It's healthier than, I don't know. It's a difficult percentage. It's all prime numbers.
So if you were to go between 1 and its maximum hit points, where would it be?
Somewhere just over the middle.
Okay, I'm gonna try and do as much damage to it as I can, I guess.
Yeah, please do.
So I will do the insightful fighting again. So can it please roll me deception?
I will do this. That is a 4.
And I got 19 on that insight, so...
I think unless you'd rolled a natural 1, you were going to pass that.
So I'm going to give it a good old firebolt. Firebolt.
A firebolt. Firebolt.
Okay, that was a nat 20.
Nice.
For a 31?
31?
Yes.
And is that including your... Oh. Blimey, I thought that was damage. Yeah, 31 is going to hit, yes.
Cool.
You're doubling all of the dice because it's a crit.
Doubling all of the dice?
All of the dice. Everything except for the
roll
modifier.
them twice or just double them?
I prefer rolling them twice because
Okay, then.
mathematically should give you a higher average.
Okay. Let's do this. Ooh, okay. So, 7, 8, 9, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Wait for it. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53 damage on that, please.
Cool. How do you do this?
Yeah. I kind of, I also do an animal thing of I kind of get down and I kind of spin the barrel and just kind of put down like a little eye thing. It's like a little zoom thing. It's kind of take aim, fire, and then it just kind of a little ball of fire just goes very, very, very quickly, but getting larger as it goes towards its target before just kind of piercing and engulfing.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, and this creature is engulfed in flames as it writhes a little bit, but then succumbs to the blaze and is dead. There is still an enemy, so I would say let's kind of proceed roughly in initiative, but they're indefinitely asleep, aren't they? It lasts about an hour, I think. If I recall, sleep spell.
Duration 1 minute.
Oh, it's 1 minute. Okay, so let's stay in initiative for the moment, which means David, you are up next.
Sure. I mean, I trust my companions to have this well in hand without me needing to expend a massive amount of resources. With that in mind, gonna get to within 60 feet of it, and I trust everyone's thinking what I'm thinking. I'm
Tie him up and ask him questions.
Grand Soul. That's
take the vial off of him so he don't turn into one of those things.
That too.
Very, very yelling.
Take the vial off him, you say? So I was going to hit him with the dissonant whispers, but on the other hand, yeah, I don't know. Don't really know what these vile things are at this point in time. I think probably I'm going to hit him with a mind slither and see what happens to that, and then that will affect what I do with my bonus action.
That will wake him up.
Yeah, but we're going to have to wake him up anyway.
I have a thing. I was going.
That was what Salem was going to say.
I didn't
while
hear
he's asleep. Oh,
while he is asleep, don't hit him until we've tied him up and taken his. Let's take the vial and tie him up first, and then you can hit him and wake him up.
Yeah, the vial is what turned the other one into the thing with the thing and all of that stuff.
Okay. I don't really understand why we're still in initiative then. Because I can do fuck all from over here.
Come closer.
I can cast Bane on him, so while he's asleep, and then he can't do anything about it.
I'm just walking really slowly.
We'll make him less able to resist anything we do to him after.
I will dash so that I'm within 10 feet of everyone and be like, didn't catch all of that, but carry on doing what you're doing.
I mean, we're in initiative because, you know, he's been asleep.
It's fine, Sean. It's just literally, if we're not attacking stuff, and I don't want to meta it, so let's just say someone was like, and I saw it, and then I come over, and then I'm like, I assume there's something going on. I've dashed, so there's now nothing more that I can do with my turn.
Right. well, back to the top of the round, Moira. I think you were within
10 feet.
Yes, that's right.
I'm just going to go and make my way there and just cast Bane on him so that he's now at a disadvantage for whatever else people are trying to do.
Mm-hmm. You could. Why did you? He's probably still asleep for another.
It doesn't cause. I was chosen because it doesn't cause any damage. It's a debuff completely. So when he it will not do anything to him. But when he wakes up, he will just be slightly less resistant to us.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah. Just...
Cool. That's all good. And yeah, I'm gonna say for expediency that there's no save even at disadvantage. Just straight up asleep. You get baned. Maybe don't make so many enemies. Is that everything on your turn?
Just start gently passing where I know where the pockets in these robes are, just so I can find secret vials or anything that might be there.
To Salem.
Mm-hmm. How far away from the entrance to the mausoleum is the person sleeping again? Is it 5 feet, 10 feet?
Yeah, probably 5 feet. Because you would have, because you would have taken an opportunity attack on your way in. So,
it's literally just for flavor, is that she's very concerned about stepping outside of this place, is trying to keep a foot, like a single foot, in, and then is like stretching over to the body, is sort of like pulling at the body to start like pouring her way to try and find the vial in pockets, but is like just stretching to try and maintain.
Part of me is inside. It can't close yet.
Please make me an investigation roll.
Okay. I can do that. Oh, okay. 27.
Yeah. It doesn't take you long. Like the closest part of this person to you is their head, and so you kind of just make your way down and almost immediately find a similar vial around the neck.
Cool. We'll grab it and then scuttle back inside the entrance to the mausoleum.
Okay.
I got it. You can tie him up now.
Is that everything on your turn?
I think so. Unless you'll allow me to tie him up as well, but I think that's too much.
Yeah, maybe just for the moment. Just Jakoth, it would be yours. You're on top of the mausoleum.
I'll hop off, walk into the mausoleum, and walk up to the body. I'll grab him and drag him towards.
He's not in the mausoleum. He's outside. There are kind of steps going in and then.
Oh, okay. I'll still grab him and I'll drag him towards Talace, and we'll between us tie him up.
Sure. I will say that.
Mainly because I can see she's really eager to tie him up.
Make me a sleight of hand check, please.
S&M B or something.
B and S&M.
I mean, we know about the badongadonk.
That's a 9 from me.
I can't believe I missed the completely obvious BDSM.
18 in total.
18. Yes, that will be. That will be enough. You have tied this person. They're baned. Yeah, I believe it would be Arcana's turn next.
Okay, we've tied them up. Are they inside the mausoleum?
Towards the inside, because Jakoth dragged them to where Sailing was.
I guess I'll just say to the group, they're tied up. Let's get them inside. Best keep this in an enclosed environment. Come on, team. Let's go. Good job, everyone. Good job. We're doing great. Let's get cracking as I head in and try and help keep the doors open and bring him a little further inside.
You do notice that the doors seem to slowly be regaining that kind of sheen that they had when they were closed. So you do think that it's probably they're going to shut relatively soon.
Of monsters and see if that helps.
It does. They stay open.
Oh, but now we've missed out on the opportunity of seeing Eltrion try and dive through the doors heroically.
Ah, damn it.
You would
There's
have the
time enough for
opportunity
that.
of watching Eltrian wave heroically from the other side of the doors.
Oh, that's nice. Hello.
My
Would you like-
diving days are well beyond me.
Oh, don't put yourself down. Are you going to come and join us in here? You could slap him if you like to wake him up. Then Moira can do her shouting thing that she does very well.
I
We can
will
stand back and look intimidating.
happily leave the slapping to those who are more inclined towards that nature of the business, but I will come and join you. If my faculties are probably best to reading the starts while we interrogate him, so to speak.
Is that because you don't think you're strong enough to slap him? I believe in you, Eltrian.
Thank you. It's more that I have a field of expertise, and slapping isn't really it. Although yeah, thanks.
We can work on it later.
Sure. I mean, you can always twerk on him or something, I guess. We all have our
I don't think that would wake him up.
We will never know till you try.
Well, no, that was the
on earth
point.
does
That's
it
what put him
work?
to sleep in the first place.
Just twerk in the opposite direction.
I've never tried that before.
That's rotating. That's
Rotator that potato. I know that dance move.
Yes, we did that last night.
At this point,
Well,
there's
we
a
were-
minute past and he's just woken himself up.
I think he's slowly started to kind of come to, yeah.
Just like, because I could do like, dancing sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll work on that too.
The monstrous creep who fell asleep in a tomb that was quite deep.
Bloom.
We're all in the tomb. Can I try and close the doors behind us?
Yeah, you can start trying to kind of close them. It seems like to close them, they don't put up much resistance. It's obviously just opening them in the first place that they require it. But trying to shut them early seems to be working. I presume that the dogs have been either bamfed back into patch form or are.
Oh
with you.
yeah. I mean that yeah, we'll just dismiss them.
Fantastic.
No.
It's dark in here. For those of you who are concerned by that, which should be all of you, because there's no light within here. So even dark vision.
Dancing lantern-y lamp light thing, whatever.
Okay. Do your dancing lights look different?
Basically just like little golden hazelnuts.
Nice.
Look at these nuts, and then they just sort of float around. Yeah, within 10 feet of each other. Just cycling around.
Image.
Just doing weird, like making little shapes with them. Why not?
Have we got to the part now where Moira can slap him and shout at him?
Well, Eltrion, because that deserves it at that point. Sorry.
I'm already by him. A question to the DM. Do I recognize this person in any way?
Give me a history roll.
Oh. 17.
17. You're not certain. You feel like, having been away for so long, you have, you don't know everybody in the temple at this point. So you're not sure whether you don't recognize him because of that, like you just haven't quite remembered his face, or whether it's because he's not actually part of the Temple of Kalimvor and is merely wearing this as a disguise.
Cool. I'm going to kick him.
Okay. He was awake, but trying to kind of... those of you with passive perceptions of 18, 19, 20, you notice that he has been feigning being asleep and is trying to wriggle a hand out of his restraints, but hasn't quite managed it yet.
Behave. I can interrogate you when you're dead as easily as we can when you're alive. But the bad thing for you is that you will be dead.
I mean, if that's not the most intimidating thing that I've ever heard, friend, I'd sort of, stop whatever it is you're trying to do.
Please roll me an intimidation check. I'll say, come.
So I'll cast Detect Thoughts as a subtle spell so that he has no idea a spell's being cast, but it should help us to understand more with the way that the interrogation goes.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just be surface thoughts for now, but they should be automatically shaped by the questions that Moira asks.
Absolutely fine.
That's a natural 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
Didn't even need to take Bane into account.
Nope.
Something about his posture shifts, and you can tell that he is unnerved by it. Priests of Kalimvor don't tend to be too fussed about death. Like, they worship a god of death. Death is natural. You should be willing to accept it. He doesn't seem too happy at the thought of being killed, particularly in line of duty. So yeah, you get the feeling that your intimidating has certainly worried him. Eltrion, just kind of surface thoughts, you do get a kind of vague sense of a desire to live beyond his mortal life. And you get this kind of image of just it's almost as if he's imagining just whole cities overrun by aberrations, but they're very, very much a kind of rose-tinted view. Like they're not as grotesque as they are, as you've noticed. It's almost like he believes they're kind of an idealized, like a perfected version of humanity.
Wow. Ask him about an idealized, perfected version of humanity, visions of immortality, and who he worships.
This could have been a gentle misunderstanding, where we both each thought each other was just something different. But apparently not. What the fuck? These things are fucking monsters. They will destroy the world, and you are but a speck of insignificance. Whatever you are trying to do, you will not matter to them. You will not get your desires. You will just be trodden into the ground. If you are lucky. What the fuck? What are you trying to do? Because it won't help you anyway. You're nothing.
The mother protects us all. The mother loves all her children.
She doesn't love you.
She loves me.
Is that what your mommy said to you?
Which mother do you speak of?
By chance, rhyme with ignore her?
He does kind of look over at you with a bit of a puzzled expression. Eltrion, just kind of on the surface, you get this kind of query. He's not sure why people are widely aware of Ragnarok. It's supposed to be something that, only those who are very, very skilled in divination and kind of reading the signs should be even dimly aware of.
So, why are you trying to destroy everything and everyone exactly? Because I've met your mother, and I've got to tell you, she's a bitch.
She will remake everyone in her perfect image.
She won't.
I am already perfect, thank you very much.
Exactly.
The thoughts that are dwelling on this particular apparent antagonist seem to be quite ripe for some intrusion. So I'm going to try and push a bit deeper.
Okay.
But before I push deeper, what I want to try and do is speak into his mind, and in as maternal a voice as I can possibly.
You can let him in. He can't do anything to hurt her.
And I'm going to push.
Okay.
Unless I don't need to. I'm hoping that my persuasion is so persuasive that they choose to fail the save.
I'm not even going to suggest that you roll. Ragnora doesn't speak, so even just trying to imply that.
How does he know? Does he know she doesn't speak?
Yes.
Does he respond?
He is going to try to resist whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Okay, fine. Well, in which case, I'm going to hit it with a mind slither.
Okay. Is that a save from me?
So that is an initial save. It'll be a tiny amount of damage. It won't kill him, don't worry. But it will weaken him. So it's int 18 save.
Nope.
Cool.
What's the damage?
So that's going to be just 4 points of psychic damage, but the key part is it's 1d4 from the next saving throw. And with detect thoughts, because I'm thinking we might get some useful information here, just pushing. I like the fact that all this is happening silently as well. Just see him sort of grimacing in pain, like he needs to poop his pants.
Yeah, his head kind of shoots back as if he's been slapped. But
Wiz 18 minus 1d4.
Okay.
I need the minus 1d4 because priest.
What does Bane do as well?
That's also a D4.
And they're different spells, so they're going to stack.
Nice.
That is only a 12.
Awesome. In which case, it fails. I gain insight into its reasoning, if any, its emotional state, and something that looms large in its mind, which is why I wanted to do it then, at the time when we were asking about its mother, which I still don't quite understand, but Arcana seems to be on the ball. So basically more in depth in terms of emotional state, whether he's afraid, whatever, something that looms large in its mind. And any questions directed towards it would push it into that as well.
You do get an immediate sense of, like, on the surface of things, he's aware that he's in danger, that these people are threatening harm. So there is that kind of level of fear, but there is also a conviction that what he's doing is right. He believes wholeheartedly that all of sentient creatures will be perfected by the Mother of Monsters. He believes this on a visceral level. Just every fiber of his being points towards them being completely correct, and that people will resist, because of course they will. Nobody likes change, but that the cult that he belongs to, the Malshapers, and Coragrain Grimson, who is the cult leader, are 100% right for pursuing this course of action.
I'm saying all of this out loud to the others as it's being basically pulled out of his brain whilst staring into his eyes. So everyone is hearing that as Sean just said it, basically.
Sean, could you just repeat the name of the cult and also the name that's definitely not another anagram, please?
The cult is the Malshapers, and the name is Coragrain Grimson.
Laura.
I'm not going to spell it because,
That'd make things too easy.
that would give you a week to decipher it. No.
While Eltrin's still in his head, did you start off as part of the Temple of Kelemvul, or did someone let you in, or are you pretending to be? You stole something?
David, does he get to try and resist anything?
Action on its turn to make an intelligence check, contested by my intelligence check.
It's going to try to resist that question. I don't think that it's going to succeed, but what's your check?
It's just going to be a click on the thing, isn't it? 14.
I didn't roll well, so that is still enough. He tries to mask his thoughts, and briefly a kind of shadow descends over the image that you get, but you do get a glimpse of the face of the person that recruited him, which appears to be an elven person with a completely shaved head and shaved face, and one kind of very long scar that descends almost from the top of the temple right down to his chin, clouding over one eye, wearing deep purple robes. You get the sense that this person was recruited potentially for his abilities. As you're interrogating, you get the sensation of the room getting colder, and you hear a noise of kind of cracking bones coming from deep further down into the crypt. And on that, we're going to call tonight to a close. So, thank you everyone for coming along with us on this slightly intriguing show where we've unraveled some mysteries, but then also posed some more, I believe. If you enjoyed tonight, we play every Monday from 6 p.m. GMT/10 a.m. PT. Other time zones are available. And we also play on Tuesday with our ongoing campaign, Fracture, which is also from 6 p.m. GMT, 10 a.m. PT, other time zones, etc., etc. And you can join us on Friday, again from 6 p.m. GMT, for Talk Together, our chat show where we interview players, DMs, and other TTRPG industry voices, or for Talking is a Free Action, our chat show / question dungeon. All of our shows are streamed at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg, and you can find all of our content archived at youtube.com/rolltogetherrpg. There are also podcast versions of all of our shows available everywhere. Just search for Roll Together RPG. And if you can't find us, let us know so that we can make sure that the next time you try, you will not fail your investigation check. A massive thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. There will be a link in chat now. So wherever chat is, I can never remember. Do join them because every penny helps us to make all of the fantastic content that we do. A big thank you again to all of our sponsors and our supporters. And don't forget that we are all over social media as Roll Together RPG. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.